Today is the 13th of May, and I am starting the meeting at 6:16. So we will have the slides going at mixing strong. As I do against the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, adequate and electronic notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board in the Beach Haven Municipal Building, on the Borough website, and mailing the same to the Beach Haven Times, the Asbury Park Press, and the Press of Atlantic City. Mrs. Ballmiller?
Here.
Ms. Lambert?
Here.
Mr. McCaffrey?
Here.
Ms. Snyder?
Here.
Mayor Davis?
Here.
All right. At this time, I would like to welcome Michael Kohler. He's a lieutenant for the Beach Haven Beach Patrol. He's going to be talking with us today about a Surfline surf camera. You're on.
Okay, am I coming through okay?
Best this is going to get.
Okay. All right, I just want to thank everyone for giving me a little bit of time to talk about this deal that the Beach Haven Beach Patrol has going on with Surfline. So first, quick shout out to Sherry Mason. Thank you for setting this time up. So I'll jump right into it. I know we're a little bit pressed for time. Is it okay if I share my screen? Is that possible right now?
No.
Okay, no problem.
Hang on
so-
just a second, okay?
Sure, no problem.
What did you say? I mean, this one's here.
Yeah. The surf camera.
All right, Mike, are you able to share screen now?
I had the ability. I don't think I have it anymore. Oh, here we go. Share screen. Let's do desktop. Okay, can everyone see that?
I don't know, trying to figure it out.
Let me know if you can see that on my screen.
Yeah, I can see that on your screen. The Surfline in the Borough of Beach Haven.
Yes, perfect. Okay, so if we're ready, I'll get started. I'll keep this as brief as possible since we're starting a little bit later. Okay, so are we okay to go?
Not yet.
Okay, just let me know when.
Did you get it?
No, I don't know if you could turn the computer.
All the way up. Okay, try now.
All right. If you can hear and see what's going on, then I'm ready to go.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, here we go. All right, so I am fortunate enough to live out on the West Coast. I live in Santa Cruz, and I was looking to do a little surf check one day, and I used an application that is called Surfline. So Surfline is an application on a phone or a website, and essentially what you can do with this is live stream videos, typically of popular surf spots. So I live in Santa Cruz. I wanted to go check out Steamer Lane. So I was looking at the surf report, looking at all the information like wind speed, swell direction, the wave size. And when I was looking at the live feed, the camera feed, there was a banner at the bottom of the screen, a hyperlink that read out applications for the California State lifeguard tryouts. So I clicked on that banner. It brought me directly to the state of California website where there was all the information that new lifeguard recruits can utilize to try out for becoming a lifeguard in the state of California. That was my light bulb idea. I figured if the state of California can pair up with Surfline, why can't Beach Haven? So when I contacted Surfline, they were nice enough to host a meeting with Megan Morrow, the Beach Patrol chief, myself, and a few other people. The head representative that does government deals, Kurt Herman, informed me that this is a pretty standard thing for a lot of government, municipalities, state governments, and etc. So what Kurt was able to offer the borough of Beach Haven is a mutually beneficial deal where the borough of Beach Haven is providing public structures. In our case, the 2 pavilions on 5th Street and on Pearl Street, as well as headquarters, the Beach Patrol headquarters on Center Street. We provide those 3 locations. Surfline sets up 3 separate cameras that would have a view of those 3 locations, not exclusive to those beaches. These cameras can pan back and forth, zoom in, zoom out. So we'll get a greater view of those 3 areas. So the benefit to Surfline is that they get to provide 3 new locations, 3 of those being obviously in Beach Haven, and we are hosting those locations. So in addition to that mutually beneficial deal, the functionality that the Beach Patrol would receive from having those cameras is full access to those 3 locations and any other locations that we choose, up to 9 camera views at a time. So practically speaking, what does this mean for the Beach Patrol? If we have somebody working up in headquarters on Center Street in our headquarters, we can have a screen that can have the views of 5th Street, Center Street, Pearl Street, and on Holyoke Avenue all at once. And we have a view of what's happening in the water, around on the beaches. And that is able to provide us with better situational awareness, better safety, especially on the shoulder seasons, early in the season, late season, when we're down on staff. So this makes us more effective in checking the beaches, monitoring the water. In addition to having that functionality in headquarters, we would have a hyperlink, just like the one I found when I was checking the surf. Every single one of the cameras that we have in town will have a hyperlink to the borough's website, specifically to the Beach Patrol's website, that can direct people for any kind of information that we have, whether it's early season, we're looking for new recruits for our Beach Patrol. We can post any kind of weather events that are coming up. So say during hurricane season, when we have very high surf, we can post an alert that can direct people to our website, informing them with greater accuracy, any kind of information they may need, whether it's a higher risk of rip currents, whether it's high wave action, strong winds, whatever that might be happening. In addition to that, on our town website, we can live stream video of anyone that may not be aware of Surfline, but does happen to go onto our website. Average beachgoers can go onto our website and see what the beach is like. Is it sunny out? Is it windy? What kind of equipment do they need to bring? Umbrella, clothes, etc. Lastly, one of the benefits for the Beach Haven Beach Patrol and a few other members in town would be a free membership for Surfline. And this direct benefit for our lifeguards is to give them greater awareness on what the ocean is like that day. So again, what should our lifeguards bring to the beach? Do they need heavier equipment like a rain jacket or a sweatshirt? The best part about this entire deal is that the installation and the service is completely free. This is a ready-to-go deal, mutually beneficial both for Surfline and the borough of Beach Haven, specifically the Beach Haven Beach Patrol, and it's at no cost to us initially. I say initially because if down the line, if this proves to be a beneficial service to us, there is greater functionality that would be a paid for service. Again, this is not mandatory. It's totally optional if we feel that we want to go down this route. where we could use enhanced cameras that use algorithms AI to record data, such as how many beachgoers are on the beach. Again, all in line with data protections regulations for the state of New Jersey. It would just give us greater data collection as far as how many beachgoers there are, how many people are at the beach at any given time, and it just could grow that relationship more with Surfline and the Beach Haven Beach Patrol. So we are very optimistic about how we'll be able to utilize this, how we'll make our beaches safer, and what kind of opportunities this will bring in the future.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we're going to call up Michael Deletto from Park Mobile to do a presentation for the council.
Afternoon, Mayor, Council.
You can adjust that.
Jerry, you may have something about it to show a presentation.
Not tonight.
I'm here, so I'm going and then go for that. So, I'm with Park Mobile. We are a mobile paid parking provider. We are the largest provider in New Jersey, the largest on the shore. We do this because we want to offer solutions to municipalities that have a parking need or need a parking solution. Last time I was in, we talked about a specific 98-day period. That really would be the focus on the Taylor Street lot, 261 spaces that we want to utilize and make some revenue for the municipality. What we do is we come in and we provide an entire program to the municipality at no cost. We're paid by the end user. The end user would pay the fee to use our service. That allows you to not spend money on meters, kiosks, anything like that. You have a mobile app, you can pay on the app, you can pay by phone, by web, by text. We provide you with the entire marketing plan, we provide you with the signage, the details, the rollout. That's gonna look like we'd be very involved with your enforcement, your police department. We provide them with the tools to enforce the big part. What we're proposing is that we do that in joint 61 space lot of Taylor Street. We do it at a 40-cent end user fee. So if your parking rate is $2 an hour, right? If you have to park for 1 hour, you pay $2.40. Park for 4 hours, you pay $8.40. There are credit card fees that are involved in this. We also put that on the end user as well. So that roughly turns out to between 60 and 65 cents. So for argument's sake, the total end user cost would be 65 cents. Okay. Granted some basic math on this. If you did a $2 an hour rate for 98 days, with an average parking session, 3 hours, you're looking at about $60,000 a year in additional revenue to Beach Haven. That's cleaner than any fee. I mean, that's pretty good money, right? The way the contracting works, real quick, 5 minutes, this, what's in it for us, is we get paid on that, and user fee that I discussed, the contract value to us is about $4,100. Okay, so we pay for the signs, we pay for everything. You walk away with what could be $60,000 if you have a straight 98-day period, where there's no, shut off of the pay farm. And you have a solution. Again, I usually have a presentation that goes from page by page, so I'm kind of winging it here. On our app, a couple different options, you have a Find My Car feature. So if somebody's lost in Beach Haven, they take it back to the parking lot, you can simply punch a button on their phone, they'll bring them step by step back to their vehicle. You can extend your time if you guys allow that, if the policies allow. If I'm out to dinner, if I'm at the beach or at a friend's house, and I realize I lost track of time, I can add an extra hour to my session without having to go back to my vehicle. I can start with 5 cars, 5 different payment methods. Speaking of payment methods, we take Google Pay, Apple Pay, all credit cards. There's a wallet feature. Folks can store money in their wallet if they don't want to transact on their credit card every time they come down. So my child's coming in, I put $50 in the wallet, they just use that, don't use my credit card, use my credit card. So You know, it's definitely what I'm looking for, it's an easy solution, because there's no outlay, there's no check to be written, there's no capital expense in this account. So I know I'm kind of rambling all over the place, I don't have my demonstration, but I'm open for questions. Throw them at me.
Of course.
Shoot.
If, oh.
You broke it.
Anyway, you know, I've thought about this and, you know, it seems like a good idea, and I know if you had a 2-hour minimum, you could only bring in more than bucks into the town during that period of time, which really would help with keeping us from having to raise taxes. But what about people that, I mean, say downtown, wherever, we have a bakery, we have a bud shop. People want to run in and buy some baked goods, they're all gonna be there for 5 or 10 minutes.
Sure.
How do you deal with that? I mean, you have to pay, you know, for a $2 hourly, hourly rate when you're just running on things, that seems like it might be a detriment to the urban system.
So you can actually label spaces as take-off, drop-off spaces, and not include them as part of the program. So it's 260 spaces, you knock it down to 250. And leave 11 or whatever sort of spaces for pick-up, drop-off, and storefront. One of the argument that does come in, and we talked about it, was the businesses, and it's made hard for businesses in the community. We look at it from the other way. It's gonna create turnover. So instead of me coming in and that lunch shop, and I'm gonna park in front of it, I'm gonna go spend 6 hours at the beach. Right? Now, I know in 2 hours, it's gonna cost me another $2. So maybe I should go move my car instead of leaving in front of the store. Right, so it's gonna create turnover. You're gonna give more opportunity to people to park in front of the business if they choose to shop at.
I have another question. We looked into this a number of years ago, and we met with a different company, obviously. But, they had a deal where they said, well, if you're a taxpayer down here, and you could register your cars, and you wouldn't have to pay. So a resident, I mean, most residents down here aren't gonna go, spend hours till around in a parking lot. So, I mean, is there any, possibility of that sort of thing?
There is, we'll get into the weeds a little bit if we start going down that, but there is a possibility to do something like that. We call them virtual access codes, in other words, we'd have to get like license plates from the community and put them in the system so they come in, they have an access where they can put in that shows their resident. Problem with that is you get some playing around with it. So if I have friends, I live in Beach Haven, I have friends coming in from out of town, they stay in my place, come out here, now I'm giving it to them, they're not residents, they're using, my resident access for it. So there's, again, without getting into the weeds, there's things we can do, but we have to play around and make sure it works great for you. I've been told many times, that most people around here will go in their life instead of driving their car. So that's where we're looking at that very specific 98 to 100-day period to really put this in and really look at how good this is. You guys put it into effect. Year one, you realize, you know, it just didn't work. Year two, you just shut it off. Because there's no financial offering. So there's no harm to follow that.
Right. Years ago, we put some paid parking in on Center Street, near Bay Avenue, and nobody parked in the slots. Now, that was probably 15 or 20 years ago. So I think there's more people today that have you had situations like that in other towns?
Not really. I mean, it's, so when we're coming in, because of the, it's not because we had this lot, this person paid parking there and hope for the best. So usually, I have a question for you. How many residents are in Beach Haven?
Well, I mean, it goes,
Without tourists, like, lost people.
how many residents that live here year round? Or maybe about 1,000.
We have 1,500 registered Beach Haven citizens on our application. So that could be any, multi people in the house, it could be, mother, husband, son, daughter. About 8,000 transactions from those 1,500 on our platform. So it's already being used. Now it's getting used at home.
Yeah, I mean, I've very,
Can you use a microphone?
I'm familiar with Park Mobile in Stone Harbor. My parents live, down south. It's very convenient. There's no striping. It's just the sign, correct? I saw the sign and I downloaded the app and paid right from my wallet.
That's
So I'm one of those, yeah, I must be one of the people that is tracking.
Could be.
Mike, when we ran the numbers with the 261 spaces at $2 an hour, we were looking at a 16-hour day for a 100-day season at a 40% utilization was a 334,000 in revenue, and at a 75% utilization at 626,000 in revenue.
So I just did an average 3-hour session. I didn't go crazy, but yeah, so the money's there to be made. And if it's, obviously, I know you don't want to do that to your citizens. But it's during that 100-day period when the tourists are coming in and you can make that revenue, like you said, even that, potentially not raise taxes.
Right.
With no outlay. Fine,
Yeah. Thank you. I have a lot of questions when we met and I asked, make sure that our participants are aware of this discussion, because I think it's very important that they hear it. Because I do think, and you know where I come from, because I talked to you about it, but I do think that it is a tax. It's a different type of tax. But
Don't worry
it's a
about
tax. And also,
worry.
I'm just concerned for our businesses because we have many employees, like where are all the employees? And we have these little waitresses and waitresses who are, the kids that are working in the fun shop or scooping ice cream are now paying for parking, so that's concerning to me. I also think that even if it's designated in one area down the road, we will. It's down the road, straight down the boulevard, they have, and, I think most people will be like, that's fine, because it's down there, it's not in front of my place, and when I'm in Murphy, and the line is long, I'm gonna get a ticket, that kind of thing. So that's what concerns me, I think, it's, I think the vast majority will, I understand the revenue, and I like that aspect of it. I do question, so how many hours did you say that estimate was for, Sherry?
16-hour day at 40% utilization.
How is that? How is that, I mean, how will their hours someone park for 16 hours unless they park overnight?
No, if you opened it, yeah. Yeah.
Not in the morning and you went to.
These are hypothetical. We're not setting anything in stone.
I know when someone hears that number, I feel like, that's exactly what.
Can keep the gavel closer to you.
Apples to apples, yeah. Yeah, please, in the audience,
One thing I will say, we don't believe of it, so it's whatever folks come up with for how this is going to look, that's how we'll build. So there's no, it has to be 8 hours a day, it has to be at this rate, no. The only thing that we say it has to be with that end user. That's really kind of 40 cents is the minimum charge, that's our, we're not New Jersey rate, everybody in New Jersey starts at 40 cents and it goes up and down from there, but 40 cents and then the credit card, processing fees. No reason for Beach Haven to pay somebody from Philadelphia's credit card processing fees because they want to enjoy your beach for the day. So that's why we put that on the end.
When we discussed this earlier, at the meeting, he said that it has something in the app that'll tell you when 15 minutes before it expires, it will let you know.
You get it at 15 and you get it again at 7 minutes.
I'm completely new to this, so please bear with me. So we have this huge parking area and some people come in and they register their license plate from, okay, Harvard, you're doing that. So somebody just comes in and parks. Is it up to our police department or how does it work? How do they know that somebody hasn't paid?
Yep, so we have a tool called enforcement tool that they will have access to. So if they're going to patrol the lot, they'll see all the paid transactions that are currently active at that time. So if they pull through and license plate ABC 123 is not showing the paid transaction, it either expired or neglected to pay altogether. So they're in violation of the farm. So and then at that point, whatever they do at that point, whether it's citation or one man, so that would be the next
it's really incumbent on the police department to, yeah, go up and down the line and, okay, thank you.
But I'll strongly enforce it. So, again, we have just the payment processing, and we take all the information and we relay all the information. What happens from there is up to the user on the other end.
The enforcement on it.
Yeah. And, I appreciate you being here tonight, and giving us your, presentation. I'm sorry that our cameras weren't working, and I have other things that I've been not here, so maybe we just to present your, company and your business, but.
But I'm more than happy to take questions for anyone behind you as well, but maybe we have any questions behind you.
Yeah, we're over the, I don't think, I mean,
It's up to you.
we're not gonna.
It's up to you.
I mean, I think if anybody in the audience has a short question, might as well ask it now.
I'd like to address you counsel on the subject. I'd like to address you.
If you do, you come to the microphone, state your name and address.
So this is the thing.
Wait, this isn't a give and take, we're just
All
really,
right, I understand.
just nothing but information.
Scott Cunningham, Sixth Street. This happened 20 years ago. Andy Anderson presented it, Debbie Woodcraft was the mayor, Brendan Ossoff was commissioner. I came in with every signature from every business, restaurant, bar in town, hotel. They presented this, we shot this down. I'm a business owner. You guys business owners? So in there, this is not good for our community or our small, it's 8-10 weeks to make a living. And now we want to take the people that want to come here. It's bad enough. I mean, it's crazy. If we have a problem with this, and it will spread through town, this isn't gonna be just Taylor Ave, this is gonna go right down the boulevard. It will affect all of our businesses. I hate going places, you go to Lambertville, you gotta pay to the nose to park. We don't want this in our community. This is not good for us. I mean, I understand the situation, we need the money, but this is not good for business. And it will be the only people on the island that are charging. People will go and shop elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank God. There's no applause, we just, yeah.
Christy Stanko, the Thunder Circle Water Park. I'm on Taylor Avenue. Let me start with 100 days. There is no 100 days in summer. It's not even close to that. It's 75 days. 16 hours. I don't know where that number comes from. At 8 in the morning until midnight. That's a crazy thing. So the numbers are, they don't work. I live there. I know what happens there. I'm there every day. What you're going to cause is the residents are going to have this problem now. You're moving this problem now to the residents. Because now people that are not gonna, because you spotted the metered parking spots, people are not gonna park there. They're gonna move to where they can park for free, where the residents live. That's what you're gonna have. You're just gonna move everybody to the ocean or out where the residents live. So that's okay with everybody. And next, why spot it? Why not do it everywhere if you're gonna do it? Just to spot 300 parking spots? It just seems crazy. Now, I'm Team Beach Haven, and I have been for the last 40 years. 100% on the Beach Haven team. We want people to come to Beach Haven. We don't want them to be in Ship Island, in Surf City. We want them to come here. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna chase them away because of metered parking. Not just the metered parking, but $8, which could have been spent at a business, which is what he said, $8.80. You're gonna take that $8.80 and take it out of some business pocket and now put it in his pocket or your pocket. It doesn't belong there, it belongs with the guests that come here. Then you're really gonna punish them if they made a mistake and didn't pay the meter. So now you're gonna fine them a parking ticket and really sour their taste to come to Beach Haven. It's easier to shop in Surf City and ship on them where there is no meter. So we're gonna now chase away the people that come all the way down. It's a hike down from that end of the island, down here. So now we're gonna punish them for doing it. I mean, everything about it is crazy to me. You wanna raise revenue, raise revenue. There's other ways of raising it. You're talking about maybe a couple 100,000. How much is the beach fee? How many people go to the beach? You wanna charge something more, charge something that's innocuous, that's already a fee. There's a fee for the beach. I'm a business owner. Charge me more for my mercantile license if you need money. But not nickel and dime guests who come to Beach Haven to spend their money.
30
You're not
seconds.
gonna hurt any little business. Then you're gonna have to, and all the employees that work for us, now they're gonna get a ticket or they're gonna have to pay for parking. They work an 8-hour shift and I gotta put $16 in a parking meter. I mean, what about it? I come from Seaside Heights. I'm not proud of that, but there was. I'm not, but there's meters all over town. It's the worst thing in the world for business. Trust me, ask anybody that has a business in Seaside. Parking, it goes from just a few meters, then it's gonna be a lot of meters, then you're gonna have parking blocks. Go to Seaside, see how many parking lots there are. There are no more businesses, it's all parking lots. Is that the direction we're gonna go? Parking lots, meters? It's a jewel what we have here. It's very, very special. I don't think there's one beach community in New Jersey with free parking. So we want to ruin that?
I really.
It's a terrible
And
idea.
And we're
Find the
listening,
money somewhere, but not there.
but we're listening, we're listening. This is, nobody's made any decision.
I know, I'm
It's
just making my,
informational.
giving you my.
Really, truly.
I appreciate that, and just for the record, for all of your business and discussion, this is what we wanted. We wanted to hear from you all, the business owners, because it's, you matter to us. It's most, none of us got together and said, oh, that's a good idea, this is just, you came to us, we're showing you a presentation, and then a decision will be made. So
And I give
I
you
tend to
47
agree
years
with you.
of business. I've been in business
Yeah, I
40
hear you.
years, this 48 summer.
I hear
I know
you.
a little bit about this because I had businesses in Wildwood, in Seaside, Ocean City, Stone Harbor. You name it, I have businesses. This is a really bad idea.
Thank you.
Thank
Love
you
your
very much.
passion.
Yeah, and I'm not saying we disagree with you, okay? I mean, I know, I'm not in favor of it, but I don't know how everyone else feels, but it's important for us to hear the presentation to think about it, and to people think about it.
So we have a long meeting tonight. If anybody else wants to speak to this issue very briefly. Okay, so I'll close the discussion and we'll move on.
Thank you. Cash receipts in the current fund account for the period of April 1st through April 30th, 2024 were $2,017,139.40. Cash disbursements in the current fund account for the month of April totaled $1,065,369.28. Cash receipts in the water utility account for the period of April 1st to April 30th were $36,249.15. Cash disbursements in the water utility account for the month of April totaled $51,952.13. Cash receipts in the sewer utility account for the period of April 1st to April 30th were $26,129.06. And cash disbursements in the sewer utility account totaled $263,945.14, submitted by our treasurer, Sherry Bowler.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2024-8C, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 45, alcoholic beverages, Section 1, number of licenses permitted in the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, to allow for one plenary retail consumption theater exception license. Final reading.
This is final reading, so I open the floor to the public or anybody that wants to speak to this ordinance. Anybody on Zoom that wants to speak? Okay, so I'm closing the floor. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 8C?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Ball Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-10, calendar year 2024 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriations limit and to establish a cap bank pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-4514. Final reading.
Again, this is the final reading. If anybody would like to speak to this, please come forward. Anybody on Zoom?
No.
All right, close the floor. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 10?
Motion to approve 2023-10.
I'll second.
Mrs. Ball Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-11C. An ordinance creating Chapter 190, Tree Removal and Replacement in the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to establish requirements for tree removal and replacement in the Borough of Beach Haven to reduce soil erosion and pollutant runoff, promote infiltration of rainwater into the soil, and to protect the environment, public health, safety, and welfare. First reading.
This is the first reading, so it's not open to the public. Does anybody in council have anything they want to say? No, so therefore is there a motion to approve 11C?
So moved.
Mrs. Ball Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-12C, an ordinance amending Chapter 177 Stormwater Management in the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to reflect amendments to the stormwater management rules, and also to prevent stored salt and other solid de-icing materials from being exposed to storm water. First reading.
Again, we're going to come with the block. So, is there a motion to approve? Okay. The second?
Who was my first? Thank you. Mrs. Ball Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
2024-13C, an ordinance amending the code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey. Does not look like the correct title on that one. Let me see that. Sorry. An ordinance amending the code of the Borough of Beach Haven to amend Chapter 45 alcoholic beverages, codifying the regulations and restrictions related to the sale and consumption of alcoholic beverages. The purpose is to amend Chapter 45, Article 2, purchases by minors, to codify regulations meant to combat underage drinking and otherwise prohibit teen nights as to further defined herein. First reading.
This is the first reading, and, I know people. I know. We have talked about this, and, gotten a lot of emails about this. Many people about it, we all know what this is about, and, I have a problem with the ordinance tonight, since we haven't even talked what the owner of the Marlin and the owners of the Marlin are willing to compromise and to do to mitigate the concerns. So I don't even know why we're moving on this tonight before we have had time to, which we just found out yesterday or today about the agreements that the owners are, we have a letter from the attorney, are willing to do to mitigate the concerns, which would be to, hire security, not permit inappropriate behavior, or what it should be, and start the process of online ticketing, which is what we have asked of them. I understand the concerns that many others have. I've never been a teen night, had it for over 30 years. But I do think that it's only fair to a business to, instead of just shutting it down, giving them a chance to fix the situation. Doesn't seem fair to me that we're picking a business to, not give a chance to meet us halfway or to meet us all the way, and if they don't, then that's it, this is it, 1 year and one and done, even midsummer is like out of control, that it would not go on. I think I'm in a minority on this, but I really don't think it's fair to bring an ordinance tonight when you haven't even talked, none of us have talked to each other at all, like privately or with Jerry or whatever, we haven't had time to think about the concessions, that the owner of that business is willing to do and CJ Mack is willing to do to fix this. This would go in effect for 30 days anyway, so you're still gonna have team night on Memorial Day, you know, the line is a problem. I think that they're running for that, or at least hope for that. I'm not saying it's gonna end the line, it's the line, that's why the online ticketing would certainly help that. But I just think that, you know, and there's no, I have nothing against the seashell, believe me, I'm very fond of the owners and know them well, and but I'm saying, and we had way complaints about the noise at the shell, with the music till 2 a.m. I did it from this, and we gave them a chance to maybe the concerns that we have this summer, we'll see how it works. But I don't think it's fair to give someone a chance and not another person a chance. And that's how I feel about it. I'm not saying I'm in favor of it, I'm not saying I'm not concerned about teenagers. I'm just saying that I think it's only fair in this society to give one business a chance if we give other businesses a chance, that's what I'm saying.
Anybody else?
Yes, I would speak on this. As far as I'm concerned, this has been going on for, yes, 30 years, and we've had problems with this for 30 years. He's had 30 years to straighten this stuff out, and every year this seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. So my personal opinion is, I think we should shut it down. We should go by the chief's recommendation. He's put up somewhere around 20 points why we should get rid of it. So I would say go with the chief on this one.
Well, I know, you know, I much respect for the chief, and I don't disagree with the chief, but everything he asked about, and that they say they're gonna try and make it better. Now, I'm not sure how that will work, I can't vouch for it, but I don't see why you would give one business a chance, there was many had a problem, and then we gave them a chance to fix it, and then it decided, you know, because they had so many rules now, the kids don't come, they're not even enough money, we're not doing it anymore, and that's what happened here too. But we gave them a chance, and that's all, we give them a chance. Well, right, Sherry?
What?
With Bird and Betty, we gave their suggestions, and then they,
That was for both
Yeah,
of them.
We try to meet with them every year to address problems that the police department runs into.
I don't know, I just think
Yeah,
that
this has been going on for
well, I
the
mean,
whole
team
time.
night for 30 years has been going on, I mean, I've never, again, you know, my kids didn't do it. But
I wouldn't let my kids go to.
I
out there.
I know personal stuff here, let's just, but this is, you know, I don't know, I just think it's only fair to give the business another year to try and solve the problem. So, that's all.
Okay, my feeling on this is that we have hired Chief Markowski. I have great deal of respect for him. He stood here, as Mike said, and gave us a lot of reasons why he felt it should no longer go on. Truthfully, when I first got into office several years ago, I was in favor then because I heard so many complaints. And the chief at the time, the police department said, well, it's giving the kids a place to go. Let's see, you know. He has since told us that it is now beyond their control. And I do appreciate the fact that we got a letter from Mr. Batista's attorney, and he mentioned hiring security. We need to keep in mind that security is only good on the premises. It does not address the kids who are going up the boulevard, down the streets, and it certainly doesn't address what happens when teen night lets out and these kids are now going all over town. Another problem, which I wanted before to do the registration, is the fact that you've got 800 kids lined up, 600 kids get in. Well, what are the other 200 doing? They're upset they came down here. And we have to keep in mind that even though teen night has been in existence for a very long time, social media has blown this thing up. And since Beach Haven is one, as far as I can tell, two coastal towns still offering teen night, they're coming here in droves. We are now a magnet. And it was interesting when I was doing a little research on this. This was February 14th, 2024. Says teen night a no-go in Shippon. And Joe Pops had to retract an announcement that they made for teen nights. And here's what they said, which I thought was pretty interesting. The ordinance was enacted in 2022 for the safety of the teens, tourists, and local businesses and residents based on what happens in other towns on LBI during and after a teen night. So we're like the poster child. It's like, look what happened in Beach Haven. Do you want that in your town? And they shut it down real fast. You know, as I said, I think if I heard correctly, we're already like 14 below where we should be for our seasonal. And the chief stood here last time and said how many resources and like people can't get a night off. Sometimes we have to pay overtime to accommodate team night. And I don't really see the benefit to the town. I know they said one of the big concerns was what was going on in team night. And they said that, you know, they were going to do a better job, you know, keeping an eye on, you know, social behavior. I'm concerned that it was allowed to get to that point already. I just don't feel like I can trust whoever's in there, because when I asked about it, like nobody knew who was in charge that night, who was supervising, who was allowing, you know, the kind of activities to go on. We do have to be aware of the fact that Beach Haven is a popular place. The kids want to come here. We get that. I grew up here. There are plenty of things for kids to do besides going to a bar. And as much as they like to be together, and I get it, we have to direct them otherwise. And I know it's not easy, but I think there are things they can do. At this point in town, excuse me, this point in time, and I know that the point was made last time about businesses and how it's going to help the businesses. I've talked to several business owners who have reached out and said they now close early because of the teen problem. We're not bringing people in for the businesses. We're bringing them in specifically for teen. And as I mentioned before, I think at this point in time, the cons outweigh the pros. And if our police department, who formerly backed this, is saying, we've had enough, we can't control the situation. We've had members of the first aid squad come in here with pictures of drunken teenagers saying, we can't address heart attacks and serious issues because we're tied up taking drunk kids over to the hospital. I just think we have been good sports long enough. I don't really see, you know, giving it another year, and I don't really think comparing what's going on with Seashell team night is an accurate or fair representation either. My personal opinion is, I think they're apples and oranges. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna go with the chief, and I honestly believe team night, and, you know, I mean, not to mention the fact that we spoke with people from Point Pleasant Beach and from Seaside Heights, who recently got rid of it, like last 7 years. They said it was the best thing they ever did. As one gentleman wrote to all of us, said, how come everybody's done away with it except Beach Haven and Belmar? Are they smarter than us? It's a good question. So that's
Yeah, I mean,
my
I hear you, and I also hear the chief, and in fact, has tremendous perspective. But I did sit with him as well, and the concerns that we had, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not just ignoring what the chief has said, but the concerns that we had and what we discussed, they are, according to the letter we received from the attorney, they're going to try and mitigate that. So that's all I'm saying, and that's why we're just giving, that's what I'm saying.
I do think that the chief's point, though, that
I don't think the chief said shut them down no matter what. I don't think the chief said that. I didn't hear him say that.
he was
That's all I'm-
saying
I
that,
don't say, don't want people to think that that's what I'm saying, because that's not.
but this problem isn't limited just to the property. That's the situation. And once it moves off the property, now it becomes back on.
I know, I hear you, but I mean,
Okay, I mean, that's.
I also, I'm a little concerned about sort of the tone, just that we, you know, I know I'm gonna get crucified for this. We have a curfew, and not that teen night is it's not a great place to be, but it's something for the kids to do. A year ago, but the chief voted it was maybe not a bad idea because it gave them a place to go. So I'm not saying whether it's not my job to judge teen night necessarily. I'm just saying that I don't, you know, the kids are a problem. And they come into town and it's like, we're trying to like not have teenagers. And we say that it's easy to find something for them to find something else to do. No, I agree, I'd like that to happen, but I don't know, this isn't necessarily, getting rid of just teenagers isn't necessarily going to start one teenage problem. No, and every single night, they cause problems every single night at 7-Eleven and everywhere. So it's not, you can't just blame one person, and that's kind of what I'm hearing in emails and things, and it's not just this situation.
No, we have that issue, and that's why we have the curfew, and we're trying to.
Many kids moved from LBI, so.
Yes, but we also have them coming in on buses from Staten Island.
Jamie, do you have anything to say? This is really a difficult topic for me because I'm, you know, very friendly with some of the business owners. This is a difficult topic because I am friendly with the business owners. However, every year that I've been on council, it's the same conversation at this time of year. There's a new problem with teen night. Then we have some type of solution, and then we have some type of compromise, and then the next year, there's another problem with teen night, and then we come together, we have another solution and compromise. So for me, for this year, I think that this ordinance needs to go through for the first reading, because I need to hear the public comment. If you're going to support a business, and a lot of the businesses, you all support each other, we just heard, then we need to hear that. I personally don't condone teen night. I would not send my daughter to teen night. And what has done that for me was the video really just kind of pushed me over the edge. In that video, those teenagers, their behavior was acceptable. They weren't sneaking this behavior. It was, they were there to do that behavior, and that is not okay. And as adults, and the teenagers that we have to really take care of as second parents, we need to do a better job. And unfortunately, where we are right now, it's not in a bar, and it's just not something that I myself can make a decision solely on. That's why I am for this ordinance for the first reading, so I can listen to public comment from every single one of you, so I can make the appropriate decision come second reading.
Jamie, one of the problems with that is if this ordinance is not approved, there will be no second reading. So you won't hear any public comments.
What do you mean?
If this is voted down, it is not gonna come up for a second reading.
Well, I'm saying that I'm voting for it because
Okay.
the public comment on
Okay,
this
you're
specific
saying,
ordinance
okay,
we need the public now. We've gone through this year after year after year. It's time for you guys, it's time for the public to come in and you lead us this is your community. You lead us how you want this to go. That's how I feel. I can't make this all up.
That clarifies it. I thought you were speaking against it. And I'll make a couple comments. I feel I'm on Penny's, in her corner. I have mixed emotions about this. I'm not a big teen night fan, and I'd like to see a lot of these, these kids that are disruptive in town go away. But I do think kids need things to do, and I think if something's run properly, it's good. I mean, I want the kids to have fun. I grew up here too, and when I was a young kid, I was never the yacht club, so I had stuff there, but they had a place called the Garage. And the Garage had great bands, even Springsteen used to come to the Garage. And it was a great, kids need to be with other kids. I mean, I didn't just, when I was 15, I was done with the yacht club. I wanted to meet other kids from all over the place, and I wanted to go other places, and we all had jobs, and we used to get together at people's houses, and it was a lot of fun. And kids need this. Now, kids have changed. The world is a different place today than it was. I was a much more innocent teenager than the people today. But I do think kids need something to do. I do think that the owner of the Marlin has come up with a lot of concessions, such as registering for a ticket beforehand so that we don't have the long lines. He offered to get police, off-duty police, and hire them. I am told, though, that that's almost impossible, because even that we can't seem to hire off-duty police, but maybe we can try to be more innovative, and he would put the bill for that. He's agreed to let parents come in there during teen night and see what's going on. That might decrease some of the behavior. He's made a lot of concessions. Obviously this brings money in from him, and I know people, I've seen the articles that he's money grubbing and all that. Well, anybody with a business wants to make the most of their business. And I don't want to hurt the business owners in town. We heard about parking and how that might hurt businesses. I think we can be too restrictive. And my feeling is, I definitely am voting against this. I don't want this ordinance to decrease, to stop teen night to pass. I guess I'm voting for it. This is very confusing, because as Jamie says, I'm voting against it. But as she said, you want to, if you want to hear the people at the third reading, there has to be 3 people that vote for this ordinance.
Yeah. The ordinance would be to prohibit teen night, so a yes vote would
You have
be
if you
to
want to forbid
prohibit teen
you have
night.
to vote yes. So anyway, basically, I really think that I personally like to take it off the agenda and have more discussion. We did, we've had a conversation between our lawyer and Mr. Batista's lawyer, and with a lot of, promises of things to do, and I know you said, well, he hasn't promised it in the past, he's never been pressured, so the promise. So that's my personal feeling. I have no bad feelings of anybody. I know how people, I know both sides of the issue, and I know how people feel, and I'm hopeful that, we can get rid of some of the teenagers that come into town. But I do think we want the teenagers to have fun. They're growing up, they need things to do, they need places to meet friends. And yes, a skateboard park, which I've got a lot of emails, would have been another opportunity for kids to interact. But there were so many issues that made that difficult. We still haven't given up on that. But I mean, there are fun things for kids to do in this town, there's no question. But dancing and that sort of thing at night is something kids really love. That's my personal opinion. So, I guess if nobody else wants to speak, do I have a motion to approve ordinance? Oh, thank you.
Okay. You're asking to reread the title once
Yeah.
more? Okay. Ordinance 2024-13C, an ordinance. Can you read it since you were?
Sure. It's an ordinance amending the code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 45 alcoholic beverages, Section 10, prohibiting teen nights within the borough.
So I have, Mr. McCaffrey as my motion, Ms. Lambert as my second. Mrs. Baumiller,
I just, wanted to make one change as, I talked to you earlier, I don't know, about having an exception for different parties that would not have like a cover charge, as like a birthday event.
that's a private event.
I asked her the same thing.
Okay,
That's private.
That's still to be able to.
Yes, they can have private parties.
yes,
And let's go through the roll call.
Right.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
No.
Mayor Davis.
No.
Did you have a question, Kitty? No? Ordinance 2024-13C, an ordinance amending chapter 199, vehicles and traffic in the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to establish a 4-way stop at the corner of Pennsylvania Avenue and Ingleside Avenue, first reading.
Well, again, this is for review.
We had 3 in the affirmative and 2 opposed, motion approved.
Okay, no, please, don't want any applauding or doing.
So ordinance 2024-13C prohibiting teen night has been introduced successfully by the council just now.
Okay, so we're on to ordinance 14C,
Yes.
and you just read the ordinance.
Yes.
So, is there any comments among the council? This is the first reading.
I had a comment. I was here tonight, the lady came and asked for this. She went right to it, got it done immediately, and here we are tonight, so I'm really happy. Thank you very much. It's important, it's public safety, and, I'm glad to have it tonight.
Great. So we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Ms. Ball Miller,
yes,
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
Yeah.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-15C, an ordinance amending chapter 139, parking lots municipal in the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, to amend and clearly define the boundaries of the Taylor Avenue parking lot. First reading.
Anybody else, council, like to speak to this?
You know, I think everybody, I mean, we understand, I don't know if you want to just generally tell the public what.
Yeah, the Taylor Avenue parking lot used to not include the street end of Taylor Avenue, so there were some vehicles there that seemed to be exempt from the no overnight parking rule. So we're just re-establishing the boundaries of Taylor Avenue parking lot to include, you know, curb to curb to curb, so that the existing regulations on the books for no overnight parking are included all as a whole.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve 2024-15C.
Second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Ball Miller,
Yes.
Lambert, Mr. McCaffrey, Ms. Snyder, Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-16C. An ordinance amending chapter 173, solid waste in the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to provide trash pickup for businesses operating year-round in some instances. First reading.
Anybody in council like to speak to this? So is there a motion to approve? So moved. Second.
Mrs. Ball Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder, Mayor Davis.
Yes.
And then ordinance 2024-18C is another ordinance amending chapter 45 for alcoholic beverages. Again, this is to establish the theater license. Mr. Padula's firm recommended that we adopt another ordinance here to more completely describe the rules and regulations established by ABC in awarding a license such as this. So it's, I know we just adopted 8C, but they are recommending that we come back and give a little more detail in 18C. First reading.
Anybody on council like to speak to this? I'm glad that you did that.
Why it's twice.
Elaborate upon this.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
For a second?
Second.
Mrs. Ballmiller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
All matters listed under item consent agenda are considered to be routine by the municipal council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds, and any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed separately. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. Resolution 107, returning street opening bonds. 113, returning piling bonds. 115, executing an agreement with the Community Arts Program for use of Veterans Park. 116 is approving a sponsorship for the Beach Haven Fireworks, 4th of July. 117 is approving membership to the Beach Haven Volunteer Fire Company. 118 is calling for the modernization of the Open Public Records Act and the swift passage of S 2930 A 4045. 119 is approving a change order 1 dated May 6, 2024 for the 2024 Delaware Avenue Curb and Sidewalk Project, 5th Street to Taylor Avenue. 121 is authorizing the execution of a no-cost agreement with Surfline to host Surf Camera at Center Street Beach. 122 is authorizing the execution of a limited and temporary right access agreement between the Borough Beach Haven, Shelter Harbor Marina Association, and Shelter Harbor Condominium Association. This was an agreement to allow the Public Works Department to go onto their property and install a tide valve in an outfall pipe that's on their property to stop the inundation into our newly installed pump stations.
Would anybody like to remove any of these specific resolutions for further discussion?
121, 2024.
Okay. All right, anybody else? So is there a motion to approve the resolutions with the exception of 121?
Motion to approve.
Mrs. Ball Miller?
So this resolution.
So hold on, we're
No, no,
good roll
I'm
calling for the,
sorry.
roll calling for the
Yes.
consent. Thank you. Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes,
Okay, so 121, authorizing the execution of a no-cost agreement with Surfline to host a surf camera at Center Street Beach.
So I was a little confused on the presentation. I mean, I didn't really get to hear it. I'd like to kind of take a little bit of look at this because I wasn't, he said Holyoke, Center, Taylor, and Fifth, but this is only for Center. And I'm not exactly sure, you know,
Well, Center Street's the only area where we have internet and the capability to host equipment like that.
so it's not the other. so
No.
It's just Center Street. So what exactly I really didn't understand is it a constant camera? Is it gonna be recorded? Is it a live feed everywhere in New Jersey, everywhere in the country? I'm not familiar with this. because
Yes.
When you check the waves, you just walk up and check it.
Yes to all
So-
those things. It is a live feed. It is available constantly. It is recorded and maintained by Surfline.
I don't know.
Yes.
I'm not comfortable with those being on camera, I guess.
I asked that question, but it's, you know, privacy, but it's just,
Mhm.
it's less. I just know, I mean, that's the teenage environment.
Yeah, so it's just one,
Mhm.
not the other three.
Yeah, I don't have any problem pulling it aside to look at it a little closer.
I just.
Bruce and I have been-
How does the company make money?
Like, when something's free,
They can sell ad space on the feed.
And I wasn't sure about that, so the other beaches, so. It worth it for one week? Well, it's not costing us anything, and that's the most, what is your value, we only get one.
Mhm.
Anyway, it's something I think for the
No.
They just said that they can't put with them. That's not what the millions in Holyoke.
I didn't really understand it.
Yeah,
just
so
would
I,
like
and
to
we
see
should
it.
pull it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I like it for all.
I have a,
You were suggesting that we hold off on approving this, is that what you're suggesting?
yes. Let's just fine tune and make sure we're all on the same page with what we're agreeing to.
And then since we didn't get the drone, I mean, I think this is kind of a decent thing, but I understand that it might be not fully comprehending, because, I heard the same thing you did.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, to talk about a little more about it and then bring it up to the next meeting.
And we've been going back and forth with their legal team, so we can get further clarification and we'll bring it back at the next meeting.
We
Okay.
don't take comments from the audience, but you can come out and talk to us before the next meeting. Okay.
Not yet.
Public comment.
So I have a bill list in the amount of $3,737,827.87. Or, I'm sorry, 82 cents.
Your motion to approve the bills,
I made a motion to approve the bills.
your second,
I'll see.
Mrs. Ball Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
yes,
Okay, and then we're gonna have a discussion about the mooring permit process at West Avenue and Pearl Street.
well, this discussion, stems from the fact that I guess I voted against the ordinance the last time and other, council people have thought about it and thought that perhaps that ordinance was, too restrictive. I personally, think that one of the things we want to do is promote baymen, give them the ability to make money on their shellfish beds. And there are 5 guys, and I'm told that, I haven't done enough research, and I don't know, but according to everybody I've talked to, there are 5 people that actually lease shellfish beds from the state of New Jersey. And the shellfish beds are easily accessible from Pearl Street. And for 100 years, basically, people have been taking their boats from Pearl Street and making a living. Now, it's much harder to make a living doing this than people used to, but there still are a number, according to my statistics, 5 people that do lease these shellfish beds. And I really would like, and basically only one of them actually lives and resides in Beach Haven. And I would like to be able to see these people continue to work. I know that they carry a heavy insurance, on these beds. They lease the beds, it's a lot of work to maintain the beds. If you don't do it properly, the clams or oysters will die. And so in that respect, the fact that it's very expensive to live in Beach Haven now. So a lot of the people that have worked these beds can't afford to live here. But they can't afford to take their boats from, say, Manahawkin to their oyster beds or clamming beds. So I really would like to see them maintain this activity. So I am asking that we renege or we withdraw ordinance number 5 that we approved at the last time. And we have seen another ordinance, which is ordinance 17, I think,
Yes.
which would allow these people to still keep their boats there and be able to plan and attend their oyster beds. And I'm moving that we repel, or was that the right number?
Repeal.
So you're-
Number 5 and substitute ordinance number 17 in its place.
So you're making a motion, are you motioning to introduce ordinance 17C, which would repeal ordinance 5C and amend and supplement code chapter 141, peace and good order? And I'll just read how it reads for the public. That this area shall be reserved as an area for bayment with an active and recreational shellfish license and limited to the size and type of boats typically used for shellfishing in Barnegat Bay, such as a Garvey or Sneak Box. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
So I have a motion and a second on the table.
Yeah,
Can we
you're
talk
right there.
before I take a roll?
What's it?
Can we talk before I take a roll call? Before we roll call, is there did you want to talk about it?
I would like to just briefly say, I mean, it wasn't a matter of me changing my mind. I honestly never really liked that. But we had this supposed compromise in place, and I felt it was too restrictive, but I thought, I wanted to see them tie it to the bulkhead, and so I gave up a few other things. But anyhow, at the end of the day, I always felt it was too restrictive, so, and it's also been brought to my attention, which I kind of knew, that some of the people, as Mayor Davis said, who no longer can afford to live here, they are actively planning those beds, literally right off our shore, and they're selling to our local restaurants and supplying them. So I mean, for us to do something too harsh, we could be hurting our businesses right then and there. This has been going on for decades, and I've said this from day one. This has been going on for a very, very long time. All of a sudden, about 2 years ago, everything kind of blew up. And I think they kind of regulate themselves down there. And I think if we get overly involved, it's not in the best interest.
Okay, anybody else?
We thought about it before, we thought we were doing the right thing. The main objective for me certainly was to protect the local guys, but then I didn't know about the plan beds. So, I mean, I just think I'm not comfortable with what was approved. I apologize to the public for that. And I think that, this is a much better option. Everyone's gonna be happy with it, but I hope that it, does protect.
So just to clarify, there is no permit process. There is no registration. This is an open area that is meant to be used for this purpose with this type of vessel. And that's what's in the code. Period.
So, anyway, with that, do I have a motion?
I have a motion. I have
And
a
it's been
second.
seconded.
We'll take a roll call. Mrs. Baumiller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
That's all I have for tonight's agenda.
Okay, so I'm now opening the floor to public comment, and anybody can come up and speak, on anything. Limit your comments to 3 minutes, state your name and address.
Hello, my name is Steve Steiner. My address is 521 B Amber Street in Beach Haven here. And I just wanted to thank Ms. Mason and the council for moving so quickly in helping to rectify, which has been kind of a gross iniquity and a very unfair situation by approving of the license that you approved. But the public may not realize that up until last year, I think, you had to have 1,000 seats to be able to have a liquor license. The intention is not to open a bar at Surf Life Theater, please understand that. It's to play on a level playing field with the McCarter and the Paper Mill and the Count Basie and the Strand Theater and a few others that make their place more attractive to certain people that want to be able to have a cocktail at intermission or maybe before the show. And so this is, the law was passed where that didn't have to have that 1,000-seat threshold last year, I believe. And so you acting on this quickly for us, we really appreciate it. I think it's going to be a decent ad revenue. I think it's going to also be a nice thing for some people that want to have a cocktail at intermission or maybe before the show. And so I just wanted to say thank you to all of you. Now, my understanding is that the actual liquor license becomes available on the 2nd of June, and the clarification is as of June 30th. So my question for you, and you don't have to answer it now, but my question is.
I can answer.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So when that first one takes effect, June 2nd, we have to advertise for applications. You will see that advertisement and you can apply. We're going to begin the process June 2nd.
Got it. Yeah, that's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure that that this one didn't back it up further.
No.
Thank you all very much. That's all.
Thank you for everything you do.
You do have one on Zoom,
Okay, yeah,
however you'd like to do.
go ahead and then we'll get the Zoom next, okay? Okay, sure. I'm Diane Hillier, Unit 16, Renaissance Condominium, 1 Center Street. My husband and I have owned our condo for over 28 years. Last year was the first time we complained about the shell noise. Before COVID, there were times, even during the day, many times actually, when the music was way, way too loud. We were tolerant, because until COVID, we knew we would finally have peace when the music and the people were moved inside. It's difficult to express the frustration when at 10 p.m. we knew outside noise would continue for as many as 1 to 4 more hours. In addition, there were times the patrons singing added to the noise level. I understand that the owners finally, after years and years, are working to lessen the impact. But how are they going to control the wind? Change in direction can make the noise simply unbearable. We complained at neighborhood watch meetings. We met with the police, had them in the condo in the middle of the night to hear what we were dealing with in the bedroom with the windows closed. Thank you for allowing me to speak. We need your help to avoid the frustration we had last season when nothing we did would help this situation. And I certainly hope that when you make your decision, you consider what if what they are promising they're going to do and everything, what if it doesn't work? We lost this summer. Last year was terrible. And thank you. Thank you. Okay, that's Zoom.
Jim Lambert,
Good evening, everybody. Jim Lambert, 516 North Atlantic Beach Haven.
let me turn you, Jim, hang on a second. Go ahead, try now.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Good. That's the best I can do.
Okay, 516 North Atlantic Beach Haven. I'd just like to say that at the last council meeting, Chief Markowski gave numerous reasons why teen nights are not good for Beach Haven. I think the residents of Beach Haven should support the chief and his staff and make his job just a little bit more manageable in keeping our streets safe for everybody. Thank you.
Be careful of that one, because it's gonna be blasting now.
Yeah.
Let's speak into the microphone. Speak right into the microphone.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Joe Gaffney, we own a condominium at Renaissance as well. I just want to add something tangential, to what was just heard. Over above the noise ordinance, if people are drinking for another hour, or 2, or 3, or 4. Sometimes they park open their parking lot. Sometimes they come and they sing, as we heard, outside of our windows. They also urinate along the fence on, Center Street. We live on the Second Street side of the Renaissance, and we hear it like they're in our living room. So I just want to make sure you understand, it's not just the noise, it's the behavior that continues with extra hours of drinking. That's it.
Thank you.
Nancy, I've got Jim.
Anybody else on Zoom?
Jim Schumacher.
Yes, good evening. I got 2 things to talk about. One, are you aware there's already a surf camera in Beach Haven on surfersview.com? I believe it's south of Marine Street, possibly on Norwood. Just so you know, there's already an existing one. The second topic is the teen night, and Beach Haven has supported many businesses over the years and worked with them over various issues, which I commend you guys on working with the businesses that need to make their money in the summer months so that they can be open longer throughout the year. And that support gives them and the people that come down here in the winter an opportunity to go to those businesses. So I think you have to look at the economics also. You've given businesses a chance to correct the issues. Residents, tonight you just had residents voice concerns about other establishments. And I believe it was Ms. Snyder that brought up about the fairness. You have worked with other businesses to correct some issues that they've had. So I think the council has a certain amount of responsibility not to introduce an ordinance the month before, not even a few weeks before the summer season on a business, whether it's the Marlin or any other business. So I think you have a little bit of you can't be I don't know if it's vindictive is the right word or not, but I think you have to work with the business to offer them a solution that is going to severely impact their economics and the employees in those businesses too. So I think that if you give the Marlin or any other business an opportunity to correct these issues for the year, and if they don't, then it's on them. But I also think that, you know, we talk about, you know, you're a second parent. I'm a firm believer that I'm responsible for any of my offspring, much to their chagrin sometimes. But I think that the township should also be going to the state which has enacted or rolled back laws affecting the youths that have given them the ability to do what they do. So in closing, I just think that you have to be fair. You have to be aware of the economic impact that it has on any business for the year. And I just hope that you think about that before you take a final vote on ending teen night. Thank you very much.
Name and address. Oh, Mary Lee Gaffney, I'm at Renaissance, Unit 26. There were 2 points I just wanted to hit on the nights. We talk about teen night and how disruptive it is to the community. The show is as disruptive, it's just 1 block off to closer to the beach. And we have an ordinance of quiet at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I don't understand why the shell is allowed to work through that ordinance. We understand that there have been 40, although I noticed on your numbers, it doesn't show it, but people are calling the police and nothing's being done. In fact, no citations are being given. I know some of our renters even have called the police and said, hey guys, this is just, my children are trying to sleep and they can't sleep, and we're on 2nd Street. So I don't understand why the shell is getting special consideration over the Marlin, number 1. And so I just want to raise that as well. One other quick question that somebody might be able to answer. Can somebody address what's happening with the beach itself and the erosion on the beach and what's happening in terms of creating enough room for people to be able to put out umbrellas and stuff in this?
Well, there's supposed to be beach replacement coming up this summer.
Yeah.
The bids have been delayed. They were supposed to come out the 1st of May or the 5th of May, and then they were postponed now, and they're not coming out to the 20th something. So basically, whoever gets the bid decides if he's going to start at the north end or the south end. We're hoping he starts at the north end, so we're not disrupted in the middle of the season. But it's certainly not going to get done until either the very end of the summer or the fall. But we should have replenishment done for next summer. Our public works people are doing everything in their power to even get access on the beach. It's a very costly and difficult situation.
Understood.
Like we're hoping that the result next time you can put an umbrella, the big one on the people will not work. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
John Dorian, 324 6th Street. Different topic a little bit, so I'm on the corner of 6th and Delaware, so there's been a whole project there there's been a lot of construction on Delaware and 6th, all in that area with sewer work and everything. And then recently, all of a sudden, there's a lot of curbing and sidewalks that were all put on Delaware and from 5th Street all the way up towards Bay Villas there and everything. I guess I was just wondering, like, what the consideration was. I'm directly across from the marshland right there on 6th. And during this time of year, up until the summer, we get a lot of turtles and things like that that come out of that. And now, and a lot of times we have curbs on our side and turtles are being, cars are stopping and everything. Well, now there's curbs on the other side. And I'm just wondering, and I looked through some of the other council meetings to see if there's any discussion about that. And all I heard was the police wanted to have, a widened street there, for crowds and everything.
I just talked to our manager about this issue today, and I would like us to do something to make it easy for those turtles to get up those curbs. I need a little research. I'm gonna resort to some of my colleagues at Stockton that are in the environmental studies area, and to try to get some help. But I've heard this, and I know this is a huge issue for me, because I want these turtles to make it. And I don't think people realize the struggle these turtles have to get from the beach over to the marshlands to lay their eggs. And I think we need to do whatever we can to help. I'm gonna talk with Public Works as well, but I'm glad you brought this up at the meeting, because I think everybody else thought it was nuts, but, basically, I think it's a really important.
Yeah, they found this, or actually, when we bought our house about 6 or 7 years ago, they had an article from 1993 talking about the value of the marshland and, you know, and particularly the turtles and things like that.
And it's the only marshland we really have left.
It's the only marshland left,
If you
and,
get the article, I'd love a copy.
yeah,
Wow. We can make some copies.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, Deb Whitcraft. Give me just a second, Deb, to turn up the volume.
Okay. Okay,
Go ahead.
Deb Craft, 528 Dock Road, Beach Haven. The ordinance with respect to what is called Pearl Harbor, this specifically protects the baymen who are engaged in either the shellfish industry with regard to clams or oysters, and only those vessels which are actively engaged in that shellfish industry. That is my understanding of the new ordinance. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Perfect. My second issue is I would ask you, in all due respect, to please modify that ordinance. The clam beds out here are not in Barnegat Bay. This is not Barnegat Bay. This is Little Egg Harbor Bay. I don't know why you're referring to it as Barnegat Bay, and I think it's just an oversight, but this is Little Egg Harbor Bay. North of the bridge is Barnegat Bay. Under the bridge is Manahawkin Bay. And south of that is Little Egg Harbor Bay. So if you could kindly amend the ordinance to reflect that the vessels moored at Pearl Street are in fact engaged in shellfish in Little Egg Harbor Bay, I would appreciate it.
We can
I
fix
think-
that, Deb.
I think the shell fishermen would appreciate it too. They know the name of the bay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
White Haynes, Ingleside Avenue, I just want to make sure I understand the Pearl Street. Are you saying you're excluding a residential person that you're going to split there?
No, you've had a slip there for years, right?
I might have to.
And you will continue to have that slip. You will continue to have it. Okay? Thank you.
I have one more, Nancy.
Oh, one more on Zoom, okay.
Don Morrissey.
Oh, hi, good evening. My name's Don Morrissey, 1 Center Street, Beach Haven. Last month I spoke at the April 8th meeting, along with several of the other neighbors of the seashell, concerning the topic that we've heard about a number of times tonight, the noise levels there. And I'll be brief. Noise ordinances are in place to govern noise levels, and I request that they be adhered to. It's my understanding that the liquor license renewal process will be coming up in June. And I certainly hope that the seashell's adherence with the noise ordinance be considered as part of that process. Again, I think this is an issue that is pervasive, and it has been detrimental to the quality of life of that entire neighborhood. Goes several blocks in several directions. So again, would like to voice our views on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. For your name and record. I didn't vote for 401 Center Street, Holiday Snack Bar, and thank you for all the time you and everything. I don't think kids have changed. I think the world has changed. And so, trying to advocate
for those young kids that are down here, kind of the teens, where there isn't a lot to do. I am glad that you decided to take the time and really work with the business owner to help them provide space for the hundreds of kids where we know where they are during those hours. And I think it's gonna be a work in progress to me. Every year, we might all discuss it, but to think that we've become the town that doesn't want the kids or doesn't want to work with the business owners to make it work would be more disappointing. It would just be easier to say no, but I believe we're up for the challenge. As long as when we say that we're gonna listen to the public comment, that we really listen, and it's not just lip service, and we do what we think we need to do anyway. And key, again, to support the businesses, and that goes hand in hand with the paid parking, because I agree with Mr. Masengo, and a lot of the others that spoke for it, we're gonna start there, but then we're gonna expand it, and I agree, I think with a fair amount of what people will have to do is move to the individual streets, and then there'll be parking in front of houses, and then it'll be the decision of, does everywhere on the streets of Beach Haven then have to pay? So if we're looking for ways to generate revenue, if the town does a team night one night and does it outdoors and generates some revenue that way. So just a thought. Thank you.
Anybody? You can come forward.
I'm there. Lori Newton, 1001 West Avenue. Interesting ordinance number 2024-11C. We all voted on. We're establishing requirements to protect the environment, public health, safety, and welfare with our soil and rain runoff. But nowhere does it say on this ordinance for teen night, safety, public welfare. What did I just say? It should be on there. It should include to protect the environment, public health, safety, and welfare. I'm just gonna read something I wrote. It is not our job to provide something to do for a couple extra 100 kids that show up in our town. The Marlin, the Catch, has held teen night for 30 years. He has 30 years to get it right. We have given him chance after chance. I've been coming to borough meetings long enough to hear you guys say, well, he does this, he does that, and it hasn't happened. So teen night spells trouble. Many parents, homeowners, and taxpayers have no idea that teen night has been a chronic problem for years. Property owners rely on our borough council to make sound, cost-effective, forward-thinking, and safe decisions for Beach Haven. Allowing teen night to continue is not a sound decision. It is not cost-effective. It is not forward-thinking, nor is it a safe decision. It is not appropriate to continue teen night events in Beach Haven. This council knows full well what goes on behind the scenes. You know the kinds of calls our police department gets, and the kinds of calls the first aid squad receives, and they have to respond to them when teen night is held. Oftentimes, it's not a pretty sight. All this is never mentioned in our local newspaper. They may not be your kids on those nights running loose, but they are someone's kids who need our help and guidance. Parents need to set limits and know where their kids are and what they are doing. So if we don't have a couple of extra 100 kids, or any kids at teen night, they'll find something to do. Doesn't mean it's gonna make trouble, but guess what? We'll figure it out. And parents need to figure it out. We don't need this on our shoulders. The Beach Haven Council needs to shut down teen night. There's a huge liability. When someone is killed, is that possible? When a young girl disappears, never to be found again, how will you sleep at night when you knew teen night was a problem? I've been thanked for submitting a letter to the sandpaper last week. It takes courage, someone told me. And my response was, it just makes common sense.
Thank you. Anybody on Zoom want to speak?
I have a Deb for the second time, so you can keep
Okay.
going.
Hi, Gail Anderson Steiner, 521B Amber Street, Beach Haven. I'm not sure I can come to the next meeting, so I want to go on record that I'm 100% against teen night. I've had problems with it in my personal home because I live near the catch and for everybody's. My business, I have more problems with my personal business, Surflight Theater, with drunk teenagers, young teenagers, preteens, it's awful. Than I do, and I'm not speaking about noise, with the adults coming out of the show. We have people, children passed out on our property, it's horrible. I employ a lot of preteens, well, teens, older teens, and my own company, and they tell me what goes on, and I'm appalled. And I run a theater, I see everything. And they come and tell me, show me pictures, show me Snapchat, show me whatever they show me, it's awful. I agree, I think, with Mr. Schumacher, who said that we should speak to the governor. We have a terrible problem on the beach, of all the beach communities, and I think it is a state problem. But for right now, our issue is to protect our town. It's unfortunate because I think there are a lot of teens who are taking it away for those who innocently want to play together, hang out together, do things together. But it is an issue, and I think it's something that we need to really sit down and take care of for this season, and it can be really looked at, maybe a townwide thing would be fun. If the town could do one, and that'd be a nice idea. We might still run into the same problems, but, it's certainly something to think about. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Brian Boker, 5404 South Long Beach Boulevard. The first thing I was abandoned most of my life, I'm talking about 26 years old. And I do respect your decision to allow these guys to keep their boats down there. But this is not hypothetical. I was just recently looking into leasing lots in the bay. Now I have to pay $2,000 for a slip. Before I sold those claims, and made that money back just to pay for the slip. And I think it's great that we're doing it. And I think it's great to do it back to people like Mr. Haynes. But I think you might want to look at that clause and say, nothing lasts forever, not even us. And if there's no regulations down there, if I got my lease to the bay, and I get down there, and if I live there, I get down there in April, throw my boat in right after frost, put it in one of those spots, I've met all the regulations. But I've blown, I like Mr. Haynes, who lived here his whole life. So I think those spots, we should identify those people, and those people, until maybe they're no longer with us, should have them spots to prevent confusion of how it reads now that I have a lease in the bay. I'm not gonna pay $2,000 for a spot. I'm gonna keep Mr. Haynes. That, we should do something with that. And then considering that, if I do get a lease in the bay, maybe in the future, if things were fading, I might have an opportunity to have a boat right there. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, yeah.
Just to clear it up, because people are ruthless. I mean, all I gotta have is a Garvey and a planning permit, and I can take Mr. Haynes' spot. We should fix that.
Yes, you are.
And the only other thing I would like to consider, like you two consider is really take a look at public opinion. It seems like it should. And it's all done, because we've had situations with 42 neighbors hire attorneys to go against something which legitimately doesn't make sense. And we already knew what was going on anyway, and we just, so to regard public opinion a little more in our decisions, I think would be awesome. The noise thing. Whether it's 2:30 in the morning or 11 o'clock at night, team night lets out at 11 o'clock at night. Somebody calls on the list at 3 in the morning. I speak from firsthand experience. I raised my kids on Dock Road between the Marlin and the Catch. I have woke up for 10 years with people still sleeping on my downstairs couch.
30 seconds.
I mean, it happened. I bought that place down the road because I wanted to be in it. I had the best time of my life there. Yo, dude, I don't know who you are, we gotta go home. Like this big crazy, everything's crazy. I mean, we were all once kids. I mean, Sure, we woke up somewhere, we didn't know where we were. And I'm glad people gave us the leeway. Let's not become them people. Let's not become their people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Kim Pawlenty from 428 Third Street. So this is difficult for me too, because I am a frequenter of the Marlin as well. So my kids are grown and grown, so I'm not so much concerned with what goes on in the club itself, because I'm sure CJ and his crew will do whatever they have to do to make sure it runs properly. However, I live up the street from the Catch and Bird Betty's. And what teen night looks like once they leave the establishment, there's no rules for. They are parked all along the streets, pre-gaming with their White Claws, high noons, airplane bottles of shots. They're parking on the streets so that the cops don't see them leaving the club and getting into a car. Urinating in public because you're drinking in the car for an hour, so, I have to go to the bathroom. When the club lets out, it's the same thing, urinating in public. When I wake up in the morning, the street is littered with all of their throwaways, so they certainly can't throw it out in the club, because then the club will know that they're adding liquor to the soda, the 7-Up, the whatever they're getting, they're bringing it in. So it's all over the street the next day. And then something else that people probably don't realize is most of the time the parents drop the kids off and then they get to take an Uber back. All of those Ubers are circling and idling in front of all of our houses. So I don't doubt that they'll take care of what they need to take care of inside the club. My kids have only gone to teen night once and said they would never, ever go back. My concern is what it does once they leave that club, it's a mess. And just like Gail said, they're cast out on her rocks. So we see the same thing. Cause I'm 1 block over from the Catch. So, and that taxes our police department, I feel. Cause they can't maintain all those things.
Okay, thank
That's my
you.
comments.
Thank you, thank you very much.
I have a Theodore on Zoom.
Okay.
Theodore Lambert.
Wait for me.
Yeah, Theodora Prokis Lambert, 516 North Atlantic. I'm speaking up tonight because the council said they want to hear people's opinions, and that's a great thing because we are a representative government and they are representing the people in the community. So I am going to speak up as a resident of Beach Haven. I've been to many, many neighborhood watch meetings that the chief holds during the summer. And very often the topic of conversation is teen night. So much so, and the problems with teen night, and so much so, in fact, that the owners of Bert and Betty's are at many of those meetings with me, and they've stopped having their teen nights. They said it wasn't worth the problem that it was causing for the neighborhood and the community, because business owners should be good neighbors to their community. As far as the video goes, I spoke about that video last fall at a Meet the Candidate night. So that video has been out there for months and months, and everybody knows about it. And if you people in the audience haven't seen it yet, you would be absolutely appalled at what was going on at teen night. As I won't even repeat what the mayor called it at the last meeting. I sit through all the budget meetings when we work so hard to give the chief of police the new vehicles he needs and anything he asks for. And I would just like to see that same support for the chief right now. The chief of police has asked you to stop teen night, that his force can no longer regulate it, that it's causing too much problems in the town. And as representatives of this community, you should be supporting your chief and the people in the community. On a more positive note, many ideas have come forward for the to entertain teenagers in town, like surf movies in Veterans Park. At one time, I had talked about, why don't we turn the old police station into a rec center for children? Bars is not the most wholesome environment for teens. I'm sure we could find other things for our teens to do. And the funny thing is, the land use board always talks about, we don't want to be Seaside. We don't want to be Seaside. Well, right now we're worse than Seaside, because Seaside has cleaned up their act and now they're all coming to Beach Haven. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mike Haynes again, I will side that, and then I have two issues. One is I'm totally against team night, and my own kids being there, I'm the and still. I tried to get in there when they went, 3:20 with you, because they established it more with you. But that's another thing. The other item is, can you elaborate a little bit more about the trash pickup, or even continue the one for the businesses?
Yeah, and the borough will pick up, dumpsters that are 40 feet.
Four cubic yards,
cubic feet.
yards.
They'll pick those up, for businesses during the off-season. During the off-season. Yeah.
Just during the off season, because I seem to remember back in 2003, 5, I think Sherry, maybe just came from Georgia. There was a long study done for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, where the state was found over $500,000 by not utilizing business pickup year round. And it got into the summer and the winter.
This would only apply,
Consider that.
this would only apply to businesses that are operating year round and can fit in that 4 cubic yard dumpster area. Some businesses,
Well, that was the problem back then too, because we didn't have the amount of trucks that we have today, and we picked up those 40 yards. And it was overwhelming going into the truck and extra rides to dump and things to people. That was spending hugely, changing tires, oh, crazy. Now you're going back to that with 40 yards. And having business like not two or just become
two or three.
Yeah, very few, and for me, the reason my mind was, I'm very grateful for businesses to stay open past the summer and don't close on Labor Day, and it just is sort of a little give back. I knew that was not a bad idea, since they're not making that much, you know, staying open, they don't.
Doing business myself, and so we all do. I'm just curious where you were going with this.
Well, so there's maybe 3 businesses, and we did check with Public Works, that it wouldn't cost us anything extra to do that, and as you said, it's kind of a payback for staying open during the winter, I mean, some of the businesses.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just a second, can you clarify what is Washington for garbage pickup?
Sherry, what are the months we do, we, in the ordinance is specific.
Jamie's looking.
I can't remember.
October 15th through May 15th.
Oh, bummer.
Today, till
No, but I'm open till October 15th, so
After that.
it's after that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Too bad.
You were thinking of me?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last name.
I just want to say that
What was the address? You have to state your address. I didn't hear.
122 7th Street.
Thank you.
Okay, I just say, again, I think that we should be looking, the kids are coming from all over the state. And very few places have 2 nights, and it's just gonna be worse. And we're putting everybody in jail. People don't want to go to the side, they're not gonna want to come to the beach. I think it's very dangerous.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience? Okay.
You've got Deb on hold too.
Lori Anderson, 1001 West Avenue. I forgot to say, in listening to her talks about teen night, mention was made of, what can we do for Mr. Batista, you know? If he does this, and, you know, what about him? But what about the other businesses that are now closing early? Where's the fairness there? They close early, they don't want kids stealing from them, or they don't want to feel threatened by them. So that's also to be considered, that Although we might do away with tea night, you want to be pro-business, right? So you have to think about them too. In consequences. Okay, I think there was something else I forgot, but I'll let you know.
For the record, well, again, I think this is like saying this, but you can't blame one business for teenagers that, and businesses getting, stolen from. That has happened. 5, 7, 8. I'm just to set the record straight. That's all.
Deb Whitcraft.
Zoom that like to speak?
Deb,
Yeah, do I have to give my address again?
yes, please.
All right, 528 Dock Road, Beach Haven. I just wanted to correct, I'm sorry, I had to come back a second time, but I want to correct an inaccurate statement made by Nancy to someone who inquired about whether or not they would be able to continue to moor their vessel freely at Pearl Street when that vessel is in fact not engaged in any shell fishing. And Nancy and council does not have the authority to grandfather anybody in just because their vessel had free dockage for any number of years. When I bought Tyrone Von Gorski's dock in 1984, it was found, well, I knew when I bought the place and had it surveyed, my dock was 3 feet outside of its riparian grant for 287 feet. Even though that dock had been there almost 100 years, nobody had the authority to say, it's okay, it can stay there. So when somebody made an issue of that dock, I had to pay Mr. Butterick to build me a whole new dock within the riparian grant. So I just want to remind Nancy and members of council that they can't grandfather anybody in to operate a vessel at Pearl Street or to moor a vessel at Pearl Street that is not actively engaged in the shellfish industry, no matter how many years they may have obtained free dockage at that place. The borough of Beach Haven is not in the marina business. Anybody who has a vessel that is not engaged in shell fishing in Little Egg Harbor Bay should simply rent dockage at one of the many fine marinas that are located on Long Beach Island. So I would just like to clarify the record so that anyone not engaged in the shellfish industry has no right to free dockage at Pearl Street. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, any other comments? Yes?
Don Halford, 319 Fairview Avenue, Beach Haven. I just want to piggyback what Deb just said. It's my understanding that 2024 Product City is going to be, I guess, repealed. And they're going to reintroduce 2024-17 regarding those 5 business entities that have leased space in the bay. But I also heard that these 5 entities, even though we don't know what the people are bringing, they pay a lot of insurance for leasing those beds. If that's the case, I would, and I haven't seen, obviously no one's seen the board, I would for council to put some sort of language in again that require any business, if any business entity that's tying up the public property to maintain adequate insurance so the borough is protected from any risk or exposure. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak before? Yes?
Ready?
Yeah.
Chief Elder, on top of Beach Haven. Just want to thank you guys tonight. I know it's been a lot with the, technical difficulties and everything. You guys are doing a great job. I want you to know that. I know that you guys are facing a lot of tough decisions right now. Appreciate all the hard work that you guys are doing, truly. Just want to remind everyone that the speed limit's going down, so please drive slower, take your time going through the town and everything like that. There are people crossing on crosswalks, lights haven't gone on yet. Lights will be on next week. So take your time, be safe. Summer's coming up. We have, Heritage Day this weekend. So we have a lot of things going on. Summer's coming on quick. We had a lot of rest today, so great job, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks for reminding us. That's a good thing. Anybody else in the audience? Anybody else in the room? Closing the public comments. So we're back to final comments by council. You want to start, Jamie?
No.
No?
Thank you, everybody, for coming and giving us a lot of insight, a lot of comments, which we will truly take into consideration. Especially, I mean, tonight with the noise and teen night and then protecting our Diamondback terrapin, which I've already been looking in ways to kind of keep them in the marsh and not out on the street. So other than that, with what Chief Adams said, yeah, the speed limits are down, the lights are coming on. Season is at our doorstep, so we can all be a little bit more patient with each other and have a successful season. That's it.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, a lot to digest, we appreciate your input, you can email us as well. So thank you all for that. The Heritage Day is May 18th, from 11 to 4, you check in at the LBI Museum, and there will be 5 houses and then 4 other historic attractions around town. It's gonna be a great day, and all proceeds go to the Parks and Rec Committee, so we can beautify our parks and do other good things. And then on Thursday, May 23rd, the Garden Club is doing a flower show at the Beach Haven Library. So there's a lot going on. Be safe, try to support the town, get out these events. Thank you.
You know, leave much involved.
Yeah.
Again, everybody just be careful. I like, all the input that we got tonight. It's not on all the different subjects. I like to hear what people really have to say. So have a safe couple weeks. Wait till the speed limit.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming. It's good to see a lot of faces and new faces. We like to hear what you have to say, and I agree with Brian, and I would support your public opinion. And it is hard, as Lori said, to get out there and speak up, speak your mind, and even if you're going against the tide. And it's not easy to have a difference of opinions, and people all remember that and respect each other regardless. I would like, I thank you, Colleen, for mentioning Heritage Day. They're involved in that. I'm excited about it. I do have flyers in the back if anyone is interested in purchasing a ticket. The information's on there. It's gonna be really nice. I hope the weather's nice. We're hoping to have a birthday celebration for the 2 Overtones in Beach Haven. They're turning 150 this year. So we're gonna have 3 ice, Ben and Jerry's, graciously donating ice cream at 3 o'clock in the park along with birthday cake. So if it rains, it'll be amazing. So,
Kitty, for those on Zoom, can you tell them how they can buy a ticket?
oh yeah, so sorry, I believe that the museum, LBI Museum website will give you a link for that. But there are flyers, in the barrel if you want to come in here, and right inside of the courtroom in the back table. I'll leave them there tonight. And, actually, can I leave them on that table now?
Is there a QR code or something?
There's a QR code.
Okay.
Yeah. You can purchase tickets day of at the LBI Museum. There'll just be a different line for you, but you certainly can purchase them this Saturday. It starts at 11 o'clock, and feel free to come out and join us. We'd love to see you at 6 houses. It's gonna be fun. I also want to just mention that one of our dear Beach Haven residents, Hank Boland, passed away today. I'm very sad about that, and I'm sure everyone else is. Condolences go out to his family, and he will be sorely missed, certainly by his family and all the Wills for sure. I'm pretty sure every day they were family to him. So. Sorry to lose him.
Well, since, it's nice to be last, because I don't have to talk much, but, basically, I want to say when Kitty mentioned Hank Boland, another longtime resident of Beach Haven passed away a week or so ago, Steve Plowski, who lived on Fairview Avenue. And his son was a very active member of the fire company, and he was an engineer, he worked as a handyman for years. I think he was about 88, and he was a great guy. And so I just think, like everybody knows and know this and remember. I also just want to say thank you for coming. We all listen and hear what you have to say. These decisions are not easy. There's often more complicated than they appear to be. It's easy to have an opinion, but it's not always easy to know exactly what the right thing to do is. But I think we have a very a council that gets along, and we do listen to each other, and we all of us, I know, our main care is for this town. We love this town, and we want to do what's right. So thank you very much for coming today. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.